on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be going over some analysis on BTC and ETH and see what's popping, what type of price action has occurred, and where we see price going from here. Now let's jump into the charts. So on BTC here, we're going to obviously start off on the weekly, just kind of see where we're going as weekly approaches its closing. We are about halfway into the middle of the candle here as we come about an hour into the closing. Scrolling down to the 1 day, we had a little bit of choppy price action today. We had dropped down to around that 87.8 region before actually swinging back up to 91.5, then rejecting, and now floating right below the 90K level. This to me is just super choppy price action. Let's see where we actually are chopping around so that we make more sense of the range. And then we can map out some levels to then react upon. So you can see right here, this weekly top wick right there. I like to draw those lines, obviously, see where price is reacting from. We have this 3-day order block here that I drew up in the last analysis, and I've just been painting on my chart for quite some time. You see actually how the top end of that wick retested and flipped for this demand before we pushed up on this impulsive run up. And now that very same level is acting as a level of supply or resistance in price. As well as that, we also have these 4-hour blocks that I've been noticing of demand that have been reacting. And what I mean by that is we have this 4-hour block of demand that we created on the last push up of that higher low last week. And we tried holding it on the push down at the end of this last week on Thursday. And when price came down into this level, alts had an obvious rejection before we ultimately closed back up on the 4-hour and then ended up chopping around for about 12 hours thereafter before eventually rejecting and flipping it back downwards. Today, we chopped around before we pushed into it and then rejected full flat out of it. These are reactions that we are seeing as price moves along. As someone who plays supply and demand, draws them all around my chart, I like to look at these reactions as a sign for what's coming and as a sign for what you can do next. And what do I mean by that? If price comes up and flips this level into the new week, I will then be looking to take a short at around this 92, 93 level, assuming that we would push a very tight lower high and then ultimately push price back downwards, sweep these lows, look for some liquidity lower, whether it be around this level of supply, which ties in nicely with this previous level of demand, or we full on go for sweeps if we do begin to lose these wicks down here. Now, this is a very tight and illiquid, no volume type of market we've been trading in lately, and that does not mean we need to do all these moves in one take. And we are obviously seeing plenty of hours and plenty of days of chop price action before something occurs. If price comes down to around this 86, 85, 8 region, it would be a bounce level for me. So we might not want to look for shorts if it comes down to this level and potentially take scalps to then target the previous structure where we were trading around today. Maybe even push back up towards these highs if this reaction comes first and we don't actually push up towards 92, 93 like I would expect for shorts before the next moves actually happen. And this for me makes me want to generate new plans. I also want to point out this 1-day level of demand here. We printed this 1-day level of demand that we eventually swept through before pushing back up, and we retested this today to push up into that 4-hour block that I just pointed up there. But that's all about how you see things and how you play them. That's what's important. We're drawing these levels, and yeah, that's all cool and dandy. Anybody can draw levels on a chart, but how you execute around that and how you form plans and then map them out to execute later is what really matters. To tie in all that, we also have this 3-day level of demand that we've been playing around for quite some time. We have not closed back into it yet on the 3-day, on the weekly. On the 1 day, we have had some closure, sure, but on the more higher time frame, we have not seen a closure below and into this level. So I'd be looking to see what happens here. I like the way that 86, 85 level tunes in with the top end of this demand. So that makes me even more convicted to take plays if they do come around the top end of this level, assuming that we're not just waterfalling down and some terrible news doesn't happen while that's happening. So that's something that I would look out for when it comes to longs and shorts alike. We are seeing alts at the mercy of BTC. So whatever BTC decides to do, alts are gonna do it even harder. Now ETH, we have been chopping it around above this monthly level of demand. We held it, and we still have 24 days and 2 hours left for the monthly to hold out this level. So we have not closed back within this block yet. If we do close back within this block on the monthly, I would then assume we're gonna go way deeper than where people expect, whether it be to the middle end of this level, whether it be to the low end of this wick. All that is not yet confirmed. We have not gotten any closure back within this level. We had 2 weekly closes within this level. If we get a third, meaning the next hour, if we do swing below this level, that's not a good sign. We want to see this weekly close above it, ideally above 30.26. 30.26 has been my level in the sand for quite some time. If we do end up holding above and wanting to push back above these highs for ETH, I can see a case for us flipping back up into the 3,400 region, the top end of this block. That being said, very, very, very wild price action to close the week here on BTC and the whole market together. I want to see what happens with BTC. I want to see especially what happens this week with FOMC. People are expecting rate cuts. That's what everybody and their mom is waiting for. That's why this range is so illiquid. The volume is so treacherous. There's nothing much happening intraday. Wednesday, we'll see a lot of activity. We'll see something happen. We'll see where people want to push this market. Is it priced in? Are we going lower? Are we going to have swinging price action take us lower before we go higher? Are we going to have swinging price action take us higher before we go lower? Are we going to have rate cuts? Now, all that being said, guys, there's not too much more that I want to touch up on here because I do think that price is going to be significantly choppy in the next couple of days. So I can see us holding these ranges, which is why I consider those scalps at that 86 to 85 region. I think those are a good level for scalps. I think tuning in alts with whatever you think BTC is going to do is the next plan and the next game plan that I even have. Let's take a look at total really quick. Take a look at the crypto total market cap and see what is going on here. We have extreme higher lows here in crypto total market cap. Obviously, we're taking that with a little bit of a grain of salt, given that the market is looking extremely illiquid, extremely weak at the psychological level. And we are also at the top end of this wick before the previous bear market occurred, coincidentally enough. Remember, before FTX collapsed, 3AC, all that stuff happened at around those levels before we had this absolute crazy nuke into the bear market range, before pushing into new all-time highs. This is the level that we are resting upon. And I think that's important to realize. Past price action dictates the future. Past price action showed that this was the previous top. And now we're consolidating and chopping around that level. We are literally resting on that level as we speak. I don't want to take closures under this level lightly. I think that closures under this level is a bad sign. I don't think that we want to see that if we want to see recovery. If we start to see closures below this level, I can see us starting to look to target around 2.5 trillion. I say 2.5 because that's a psychological level that's at the bottom end of this one-day level of demand where we consolidated above before we pushed back up into the highs that we have now. That is the lows that we had when we first pushed the highs at 3.7 trillion and then deviated. You can match this up with BTC's price action where BTC first pushed up into that 109K region before deviating back down. This is that level we're talking about on total here. So total deviated down, pushing back up, and now we are holding on by a thread. Whatever BTC does is whatever total is gonna do. And that's kind of what I expect from the market here. I don't think it's worth overcomplicating things. I think it's worth analyzing and making plans. But to immediately seek gratification on your trades is to watch those trades potentially become either winners or losers in the future. I think that when you're overcomplicating and you're taking trades, assuming instant gratification, you are subjecting yourself to getting chopped out. You're subjecting yourself to not holding good entries because you didn't think it was the time. After holding it for a couple of days, chopping around your entry, you close break even, watch entries fly. You might close them and price might swing down a few percent. You might think that you're a genius until you see price react the way it does today, move up and swing 2-3K in one direction. You don't take profit and then watch it fall flat again. Scalpers market right here until proven otherwise. Seek liquidity, which is why I think the sweep scenario up is good for shorting and why I think the sweep scenario down is good for longing. That's about it for today, guys. I hope you guys are staying safe out there in the markets. Make sure that you're making calculated bets only. I myself took off this weekend because I experienced quite the chop to start the month. So I'll be jumping back into the markets tomorrow if given the opportunity. But for now, that's it from me. I'll see you guys in the next. Peace.